Hello YouTube, this is Dazzathecameraman and I'm pleased to have Soundly and Shawn Hufford joining me today to discuss Flat Earth, and in particular we're going to be looking at the excellent videos that Soundly has been filming in recent times with his Nikon P900 camera, the ultimate camera according to Flat Earth believers for proving that the Earth is flat. So here we're using the Nikon P900 to prove, in fact, that the Earth is curved. So welcome along, Soundly, and welcome, Shawn.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
So first of all, Soundly, would you like to give us a bit of an introduction? We can see your videos up on the screen there, and tell us a bit about the work that you've been doing and what you're planning to do as well.
Yeah, sure. Basically, the last thing that I've done, I guess I should share my screen and find the Hangout window again. Sorry about this, guys.
Soundly can find the curvature, but he can't find his windows.
It's unbelievable. I never know how to share them either without sniping people, so I'm going to try this. Let me see. All right, you guys can see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, basically what I've been doing is doing some more scouting with the P900 and trying to answer objections as much as possible. And one of the objections was that the recent objections was with this blink test that the tower itself was not being obstructed. And well, obviously I take issue with that. So
well, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that tower behind a peninsula?
Yes, that's one of the things that I mentioned whenever people started talking about it, was that where's the land, right? Where's the land that's supposed to be in front of this tower? Because if you actually look at Google Earth, there is land in front of that tower. And we can even pull that up here. Just zoom in on this last tower here. And let's see. There it is. Right. So this is the tall tower right here, and here's this piece of land that sticks out in front of it, a peninsula, like Shawn said. And there's actually another tall tower back here, and then some of my shots you can actually see both towers. And
do me a favor.
Okay.
You don't have to draw the line in, but somewhere in between there, look at the elevation of the land if it'll show you. I'm not sure how well it's surveyed with Google Earth there.
Yeah, do an elevation profile across that peninsula. Let's see how high it is.
Go away.
Now, the downside is Google Earth doesn't have elevations for everywhere, but they have a lot of it covered.
2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet.
So it's not terribly high.
No, it's not high.
It's not real high.
Yeah, this is all marshland right up in there. If you actually look at you know, the land and what's around there, there's no roads. There's no, you know, there's hardly any type of road-based traffic, because you know, in order to live out here, you pretty much have to have a boat.
So I just want to see how much it would block the view if it wasn't being obstructed at all by the curvature of the Earth.
Yes.
And it's still not a lot.
Yeah. Well, even if what was the highest point shown there? It was
4 feet.
4 feet. Yeah.
So if the Earth was flat and you're in an elevated position because you're filming from the bridge, what would your elevation be, your filming height?
I think we estimated it around 40 feet. I think actually you and Shawn at one time tried to estimate it, but I really believe it's higher than that, to be honest.
Right. But let's say it's 40 feet as a minimum.
Yeah. Right.
And let's say the Earth is flat and that little peninsula is about 4 feet high. Well, with the sort of zoom that you're using, we should be able to easily see that land sticking up as a peninsula, but we can't.
Yeah, and you should also see the base of the tower. You know,
Right.
That's the other thing. You know, you should see this. You know, you should see, where is it? You know, you should see this. You should see the base of the tower, but you don't. So let me go back to about halfway here, half blur. Whoops. Right here, yeah. So where is this? You know, where is this part of the tower right here? Well, it's all being obstructed by the horizon, and we all know this already, but
Yeah.
you know, this is pretty obvious to me that it can't be refraction, right? Because people want to talk about somehow some magical reverse refraction that's causing this. You know, the mirage is caused, so it's everything shrinking. But we're talking about, you know, way too much. This is too much to be caused by refraction. Not to mention that Kara's model matches this perfectly. So.
Well, it's clearly lost in the electrical soup, isn't it?
Yes, that's what it is. It's the electromagnetic soup. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny how I haven't heard anything about that lately. Yeah, so I did this blink test. Basically went back to the video that Mick West had referenced in his article, and did the blink test on it because the objections were coming on that video mostly. People were starting to, you know, comment on it more and more.
Well, I'm sure it's got to do with electrolysis and the power lines.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, the thing that amused me was that, you know, Anthony Riley concocted this idea about electrolysis and electrical soup causing this curvature that we can clearly see. Okay, so that's fine, maybe talking about the power pylons, but what about the bridge? Because we can see that the bridge is curved as well. And how far away from the power pylons is the bridge?
A long ways. How to, you know, let's look at Google Earth again to tell that.
Yeah. So Lake Pontchartrain, I guess, according to Anthony Riley, is filled up with electrical soup, as he calls it.
Mm-hmm. And if if he wants to talk about that nonsense, then I would have to ask him about the Atchafalaya Basin, right? You know, here we go. Here's 12, 13, 18 miles. You know, kind of see.
Right.
You can see how far type of range we're talking about. A long ways.
That's just desperation, isn't it? Coming up with something like that. Now, Soundly, when you're actually on the bridge, looking out to these power pylons, can you clearly see the curvature with your eyes on a clear day?
Yeah, on a clear day, you're going to look out there and you're going to go, kind of looks like it's curving a little bit, and it's one of those things where you have to have your contacts in and you have to have a clear day, but yeah, it's there. You know, you can see it.
Well,
and you're going to try and rationalize it away. I mean, that's what most of us would try and do. You're going to try and rationalize away like this is some, you know, trick of my eyes, because it's such a very small amount of your field of view that it's hard to really make out exactly what's happening there until you break out a camera, right? Until you break out.
Well, here's the thing about one of Anthony's biggest objections is he says that there's too much curvature. What he's not understanding is you're using a camera that has a 1 degree field of view when you're completely zoomed in.
Right. So
you're not looking at a very wide space there at the end of the towers.
Right.
So he's thinking that that's exaggerated curvature. And if you look at the entire thing to where you can actually see the entire row of towers, it's not a lot, but it is noticeable and measurable.
Well, the thing that I try and when people are like looking at, because there's even I mean, most people look at this, not just flat earthers, but most people look at this and go, what am I seeing here? You know, it's like it's kind of hard to interpret because you're just not used to seeing this type of perspective, this type of distance.
And Mick West is in the chat. He says, "Hey, that's my pool cue." Hi, Mick.
It is. I'll put your name on it, Mick. Okay, I'll put your name on it. I borrowed it, but yeah. So these pylons, which if you look right here, right, this is a terrible image to do it on, but these pylons are 0.18 miles apart, you know, so we're talking about a very large amount of distance that's all being compressed into a couple pixels, right?
As I recall, it was 950 feet approximately.
Right. I also did a calculation the other day on the my estimates on how much horizon we're seeing, and it works out to like 750 feet. That was my estimate.
Actually, while Mick is in the chat, I do have one request for him with that pool cue test.
Mm-hmm.
To demonstrate this properly, can you actually get a perpendicular view of that from the side, just to show how much curvature you don't see unless you're looking down the length? I mean, that's one of their biggest. That's one of their biggest arguments is, well, you should see if it's curving that much, you should see it curve from the side. They don't understand. Did he do it? I haven't checked the post in like 3 days or a couple days, so I don't know.
I thought there was something in the comments on that. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Let's see if it's in here. I mean, there's a side shot.
Yeah, and you can't tell that it's curved.
Right.
I mean, you might be able to, if it's high enough resolution, you can draw a line along it, but it's not going to be much, if at all.
Well, this is like this is equivalent to the aerial shots of the causeway, you know, that they all want to throw out there. You know, It's like, obviously it doesn't look curved, you know, because if you're not looking at the correct angle, you're not going to see the curve.
Yep, there we go. What a difference that makes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great article, by the way.
Yes, it is.
I'm glad Mick's in the comments, because these articles are great.
It's fantastic.
I love how they keep bringing this one up too. Like, I don't want to. I've had the whole Anthony Riley calling my stuff a fraud. I'm not going to call this a fraud, but it's questionable to me, I guess I should say.
Well,
but
here's the thing about that. Here's the thing about that one, Zombie, is he was able to get that shot one time.
Yeah.
He has not been able to repeat that shot because those atmospheric conditions were very unique.
That's correct. And also, if you look right here, this is actually curving. And if you look right here, this is actually curving. They're both actually convex curves in towards the towers. And this doesn't look straight either to me. And that this is actually a really blurry version of the blurry image that's already blurry. But a number of people have already looked at this and like, okay, well, good. You found one shot showing some crazy atmospheric conditions on one day. Go back again, take another picture.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Your conditions are so common that he can only get this one shot and tout that on as proof.
Right.
Well, Anthony likes to say that he needs stuff that's repeatable and demonstrable. Well, yours are repeatable. This one that this guy is touting as proving flat Earth, he has never repeated it.
I mean, thousands of videos and pictures that I have now. I mean, it's in the thousands. They always show the curve. So show me a flat earther that's done that, because there aren't any. And they refuse to do it. And I can't tell you how many times I've been threatened in the comments. I'm going to go out there and take the pictures. And I'm like, good, that's great. That's what's awesome about being on the side of honesty, right? Is that I can go do it and you can go do it. And there we go.
And just on that too, I don't know how you would feel, Soundly. Would you invite somebody to join you, to come along with you?
I've already invited two guys. I'm not sure if you heard of the guy, this Andrew John guy that lives in the area. He was on Anthony Riley's Hangout a couple times, or maybe just one time.
Just once.
Yeah, I specifically called him out because he actually made a video against the Causeway, one of my Causeway videos. So I specifically said, hey, okay, look, come and join me. Okay, we'll go and do the observations together. I'll let you hold the camera. Like that's what I've asked for flat earthers to do. And now there has been one, to be honest. What's her name? Morky something.
I don't know.
There's one out there called Morky, I think, and she basically said that she would go, but somebody said, hey, why don't you take Morky? And I was like, well, I'm married and I'm not going to go pick up a woman and drive her around. It's just not going to happen, especially it's just, that doesn't sound like a good situation to put myself in. So what I suggested is that she just go do it herself, just go do it, post it. I mean, why not? That's what I've done. I've gone out there, I've live streamed and uploaded it from the cafe in Laplace. So just go do it. They don't want to for some reason. I don't know why. I've had a lot of people threaten that they're going to go out there and do it, and I've yet to see any follow-up on it. I wonder why in all this time, no one from the flat earth side has gone out there and videoed stuff or taken a picture of it. I've showed them where it's at. I've even marked it on Google Maps.
I'm actually pretty certain. I'm actually pretty certain by this time several have, and they didn't get the results they wanted, so they didn't say a word.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
I was just thinking that before too, when you mentioned that the first guy. Oh, sorry. Probably the whoever filmed the rather blurry example that we looked at. And I thought to myself, I wonder how many times he's been back there and tried to refilm again, and the conditions were right so that he saw the curvature. And it would have been like, oh!
Oh, yeah. You know that's the truth.
Mm.
So I just talked to Jesse yesterday, Jesse Kozlowski. And I told, we talked about, I'm kind of focused on making sure I get this eclipse right. But once the eclipse is done, I want to go like heavy on like making some serious plans with him coming out here. And me and Dandy are going to go out there ahead of time and find locations that are ideal for him to set up his gear.
If I can interject, since you brought him up, for those that don't know, Jesse Kozlowski is the guy that did the time lapse of the Chicago skyline from Lake Michigan, or from Michigan City up in Michigan. And the flat earthers love to use that, even though Jesse was actually showing the curvature of the earth and how looming affects it as weather conditions change. They will only show one frame of that video that's a time lapse.
Sounds like he'd be a good man for me to get into the Hangout.
Oh yeah, Jesse would be a great guy to invite for sure.
And I thought he lived up in Michigan, but apparently he doesn't, because I was actually wanting to go, because I don't live far from from Michigan City, and I was kind of hoping to hook up with him at some point and to do some videos of Chicago skyline again. But I think he lives on the East Coast somewhere. He was just up here every now and then.
Why can I never find
Soundly, while you've got your browser open there, I dropped a link into the Hangout chat. Hitchcock, it's the last link that's posted in the Hangout chat. Can you just hit that and pull it up in your browser, please?
Yeah, that's your favorite. Yeah.
So this one here, this particular image, which shows the effects of the focal length or the zoom of the camera being used, is very helpful in explaining a few things that people often don't understand. Now, what we're focusing on here is not the block of concrete in the middle of the image, is the background that we're looking at. And you can see that the background changes apparent size. Sometimes it looks very close and very big, or it looks very far away and very small. Now, this is useful for a couple of reasons. One, in Soundly's videos, when we're looking at the power pylon towers and how they seem to be very close together. In fact, if you look at Soundly's images, it looks like the power pylons are only the same distance apart as one power pylon. It looks like they're that close together, that you would only have room for one power pylon in between every two, if you can follow what I mean. But in fact, those power pylons are 950 feet apart. Now, the other reason that this is very helpful is that sometimes the flat earthers like to post the photo of the Earth as seen from the moon. And they point out that the Earth should look a lot bigger in those images. But again, it all comes down to the focal length of the camera being used, because that really changes the effect of the distant objects and the apparent size. This is called the Hitchcock zoom effect.
Yeah, it's a dolly zoom.
Dolly zoom.
Just to point out that they are moving positions as they do the zooming.
That's right.
It's not zooming from one single position. Every picture they're taking, they're going closer and then zooming out a little bit.
That's right. So it's, as Shawn is saying, that the camera person here, as they're filming, is actually backing away from this concrete block. As they're backing away, they're zooming the camera in on the concrete block to maintain its apparent angular size in the image. And that, of course, creates this trippy sort of effect that we see in the background. And some of you may remember that classic scene in Jaws, and what was the other Hitchcock movie? Was it?
They used it a lot in Birds. They used it a lot in Psycho.
Yeah, Psycho, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Psycho's actually where he really mastered the dolly zoom.
Yeah.
But they've used it in pretty much every horror movie ever since.
Mm.
One of the most famous ones was The Shining, when they were zooming in on the girls, the twin girls in the hallway. They used a dolly zoom for that, and it was done really, really well.
Right. Now, Mick has just dropped another link in the public chat there. If you can hit that one, and we'll take a look at that as well. Thanks.
Oh, in the public chat. It's over here.
Don't get us sniped.
Sorry.
I
need two screens.
Oh, yeah.
There, dolly zoom.
Yeah,
love that.
This, if I'm correct, is a very recent video by Movie Vertigo on YouTube. And I think he posted this just in about the last 24 hours. I remember seeing this one. And again, this is the effect of what happens as you move away from or closer to the globe. You're much closer, so you have a smaller field of view relative to the globe. You're going to see less because you're closer to the surface.
That's pretty awesome. Like, there you go. All those blue marble things that they always cry about.
Yeah.
I have to go check out his video.
The size of the continents change and this is impossible. Well, no, it's not. It's just the amount that you're seeing because of the distance away from the whatever sphere or globe that you're filming. You do the same thing if you're filming a soccer ball or whatever.
Wonder how long it took him to line everything of those up.
Yep, it's a nice piece of work.
It is. It's awesome. I'm kind of getting the Weather Channel effect going here. I'm just staring at it.
Well, somebody's complaining of getting motion sickness now, so.
So
there we go. That's
yeah. So I go out on these. I'm trying to get Jesse in here, by the way. I'm not sure. He was camping yesterday, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to join or not. But I go out on these runs. I call them recon runs. I actually picked that up from Jesse. That's what he calls his runs, recon runs. But I used to call them scout runs. I guess they're scout runs. But it's, I have a day where I have nothing to do. Wife's working, kids are gone, something like that. And like, I'm just going to go out and take a bunch of pictures, which I just like taking pictures in general. So it's fun for me. And so this last week, I actually did a little run here, and I met Dandy in the morning. This is early morning. Actually, not too early morning. We tried to make it for sunrise, but I think we're just a little bit after sunrise. But this is the Atchafalaya Basin. And
it shows everything you need. I just wish it was a little less foggy.
This is one of my, yeah, exactly. During the fall or winter, it's going to be better, but the other thing about going this early in the morning is that people haven't actually got in the water yet for the most part. There might be one or two guys out there, but the water's like glass, it's so smooth out there. And so this shot right here is when obviously the water's like glass. I actually have a video where a guy comes through and messes this up and it pisses me off. But anyway, this to me is one of my favorites. This to me is one of my favorites, and the reason why is because if you look at the reflection of the bridge here, it's not right. Right? If this were a flat mirror, right, the bridge would have to look exactly the same right here. It'd have to be curving this way.
Right, it's curving the opposite way.
It's curving the opposite way. Why? Because it's bent. The mirror is bent. Like, this is undeniable evidence of curving water. There it is. The water is curved.
Have you tried enhancing that image soundly like the other ones?
I have not. I can hand. I'll actually. You know what I'll do after this? I'll give you a. I'll invite you to a Google Drive, not Google Drive, but a Google Photos folder that has all these in it.
Yeah.
And you can just look at them all the raw ones yourself. And if you want to put some enhancements and stuff, that's cool. Yeah, do that. I haven't messed around with it too much. I don't know. I like holding on to the raws just because, you know, it's like, okay, look here, this is straight from my camera to the drive, you know, type thing.
Yeah.
But certainly playing around with enhancements after the fact is definitely a good thing, and I would like to do it for sure.
Yeah. Can you just go full screen on that one for me, please? I'm just going to grab it.
Yeah. It's obviously a lot higher resolution in RAW, so I can give you that one in RAW if you want.
Yep.
Hello, Mr. West.
Hello,
Great.
how you doing?
Thank you for joining us.
Good.
Yeah, thanks for joining. What? I have just left him a message. Who was Floyd talking about?
He's talking about Jesse.
Oh, I see. So let me go back to these pictures from my scout run. I wanted to show you something with the causeway. These are pretty awesome pictures. I mean, I really love these pictures, and you guys can. Whoever wants a link to the. Actually, I'll just probably just publicly share a link to the Google Photos album so anybody can look at it after the fact, and I'll have Dazza put it in the description if you don't mind, Dazza, or Shawn, or whoever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But this is under the bridge, and these pictures are like really spooky. Like they really kind of play with your mind, because whenever you're actually like drilling in on them with the P900, it's like an infinite tunnel. You know, you just never run out of pylons. Let me see if I can get this one going for you.
Oh, you did it in video.
Oh, what?
I said, oh, you did it in video.
Yeah, I did it in video. I zoom in video.
Oh, wow.
So this is
yeah.
Yeah, so this is directly underneath the bridge. We specifically went after this because when we were doing some research after our first outing, we saw somebody had posted a picture like this. I was like, man, we need to get there. Or actually, Dan D was like, man, we need to get there. We need to zoom in, and with the P900. But that's just like crazy feeling. Whenever you're actually looking through the eyepiece and doing it, it's like, whoa. It's trippy. Exactly. Very trippy. But at the end of it here, you know, you have this classic hallway, you know, perspective example they like to use. But if you put a straight line right here, that's not straight.
I'm looking at the baseline of the water line. I'm looking at the white line for the high water line.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the next color discoloration above that, and I'm looking at the top corners, and they are all curving down.
Yeah. It's a pretty awesome shot, and this is reminding you that this is like early in the morning, and there's a lot of haze. During the fall, during the winter, when there's no haze, and this is perfectly clear, it's going to be an amazing picture. It already is kind of amazing, but it's going to be awesome. It's going to be even better, I think, in my opinion.
Next
one
time
thing you said there was that the high water mark actually curves there. Can you actually see that under the bridge there? Is that the white line?
Yeah, this white line is one of the high water marks right there.
Yeah, because that's very cool, because that's essentially the same as the the Wallace experiment, except you've got like 50 times as many pillars as he had.
Oh, far more than 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wallace had one center mark. This guy's Soundly's got a knack for finding 80 to 80 plus.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So there's actually, these pictures, I don't know. They just have an effect on me, I guess. This is me zooming in on them. Anyhow, there's a whole bunch of videos. If you guys want to look at them, I'll send you the raws. But the high water mark on the outside, Mick, is actually, that's a kind of blurry picture. Let me back and get a better picture. That's a good one. Yeah, so the high water mark it's easier to see during the day, but it's right here. This is all the high water mark, and it's obviously curving. And the thing that I like about this high water, the reason I love this location is because the bridge is level. It is level. It's the same height the whole way in the 7 mile stretch. It goes up over a levee on one end, and it goes up over a levee on the other end. Actually goes up over a creek with a levee on the other end. And but the cool thing about it though is that in some of the really clear shots, you can judge the relative difference in height between this dark section and this light section, and you can tell that the relative difference stays the same. And since this is a high water mark and you know it's level, then you know that this is level. I mean, you can infer that this is level just from that observation right there, without having to actually go out there with theodolites and measuring sticks and stuff like that. Now, you know, people might want to argue about inches, but I'm not going to argue about inches. So that's why I really like this location, and not to mention that we could reproduce the Bedford level experiment here.
Yeah.
I think it's great because it's accessible. Your other location with the towers is great because the towers are so tall, but it's kind of dodgy to get to, a bit dangerous as well.
Right.
This is one of the people who can just go and spend as much time as they like, and it's really easy to get to. They can go park the car down there, and there shouldn't be any problem reproducing it.
Exactly. And this one over here, this is actually the top of a tree, and the top of the levee is about right here. And so we took shots from the base down here, the bottom of the levee and the top of the levee. And you can clearly see the boat ramp on the other end being obstructed, which I may be able to find. Let's see if I can efficiently find such a view. I have to pop through older days here. I think it was 73. Okay, yeah, here's 173. Clear day, obviously. Get to the other side. Okay, so here you go. So this is looking from the Rama side, and you can make out the high water line very clearly in this picture. And again, you know, figuring out the relative distance here versus here, you can tell that this top rail tracks that high water mark. And again, the high water mark is water, so it's level. And that's a really good, you know, obvious observation right there. Now we go down, let's see, right, let me see. That is turning around and looking behind me at from the levee top. Here we go. This is me further down. Zoom in. Here we go. So here's the same boat ramp now. And now I'm at the bottom of the levee. So clear obstruction of the boat ramp here. And you're also starting to see, you know, thermal effects of being closer to the water. These cars are a lot less clear, so things are a lot blurry, a lot more blurry. Anyway, great location. Hopefully when Jesse comes out, we'll be visiting this spot and doing some cool experiments. Definitely want to reproduce a Bedford level experiment here and take some more observations here. Like you said, it's great because from both ends, it's accessible. One end is public, the other end is private. So we did have to get permission on the private end. But
just to reiterate, the reason why I love your work so much, Donnelly, is because, you know, Anthony's your biggest detractor, and he never seems to understand that when he's presenting his evidence with the Blackpool Tower, it is observer to target line of sight. You're actually using a measuring tool of features around it that are all identical.
Right.
Along the entire path.
And I've reproduced it a bunch of times, and anybody else, even the opposition, can go out here to these locations and reproduce it. Why haven't they?
Well, it's like I said, you know, they can't. They can't reproduce it and still stick with the flat Earth.
Right. So here's a higher shot up on the levee again.
So like I said, even if they went out and reproduced it, they would never publicize it because it shoots them in the foot.
Yeah. But this goes into the psychology of the thing again, though. Like, once you see something like this, how can you unsee it? Because that's what they have to do to continue to believe in the flat Earth, right? They have to somehow subconsciously unsee this thing.
Well, you got to remember that you are a live or real-time CGI expert at this point.
Yeah. Live stream on YouTube, CGI. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's why you have this. That's why Hangouts have the second delay, so you can have that 7 seconds to CGI every frame.
Oh my god!
My goodness.
Hold on, let me do this real quick. I feel like I feel the need for this.
I'm just presenting my screen at the moment there, Soundly. I'll flip back to yours. But
okay.
If you click the Hangout window, there's that photo I took the screenshot of.
Right,
and I've enhanced. How does that look?
I can never find this stupid Hangout window. Here it is. Okay, there it is. Oh, yeah.
Now, that's just taken off a screen grab from the Hangout, so you imagine that the actual raw photo come up a lot better than that.
Yeah, definitely pulling out that contrast. That's great.
Question from the chat, Germanicus Keith. This is not the Bedford level experiment. This is actually a channel somewhere in Louisiana that Soundly is going to that is 7 miles long. It's all water. So it's actually better than the Bedford level.
Yeah, let me Google Earth.
I'll just present it again, Soundly.
Okay. So here's Lake Pontchartrain, and if you go west,
there you go.
You go west from Baton Rouge. So here's Lake Pontchartrain over here. New Orleans is down here. You drive west to Baton Rouge on I-10. You keep going west on I-10 across the Baton Rouge Mississippi River Bridge, and it's right here. Rama is the east side, and Whiskey Bay is the west side. And there it is. There's the boat ramp. And right almost exactly in the middle. These things are like engineering art pieces. It really is, because these things are so well put together when you actually look at them. This crossover right here is almost exactly in the middle of these two observation points. So there's probably something to be done there too, but we'd have to get permission from state police probably. And here's the levee right here, and I shot from the top of the levee and from the bottom of the levee down here. And you can see even on this that actually the end of the road actually goes up, you know, and it still curves down visually.
Might be a good place for doing some laser experiments. Are you looking into that?
Yeah, that's Jess if he has any. He does have some, but 7 miles with a laser is looking to be very tough to do.
Yeah.
So you need more power than I'm willing to spend.
Well, power and a really nice collimator lens.
Yes. Basically, you're talking about money that I don't have. Anyway, yeah, so this is the thing I wanted to show right here. These are the two. Compare and contrast.
Now, Jesse has auto-leveling theodolites, doesn't he?
Yes. He has an auto-leveler. Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, it'd be the same as a laser test, just, you know, one person on each side.
Yeah, that's what me and Jess were saying too. I mean, the laser is just light, right? I mean, it's just so if you can see something over there, it's just as good.
Yeah.
So
hopefully you can hook up a P900 zoom function on a theodolite.
What me and Dandy have talked about doing is going out here one time, taking the day to do it because it's going to take forever, and going out here and accurately marking, marks targets on these posts, you know, like something bright that we can see, and putting them exactly at the same height on every single one. Even though we obviously agree that the high water mark is good enough, having having something like that will be, you know, I guess ironclad, so to speak.
Well, I was going to use the word world crushing for flat earthers.
Yes, world crushing. Yes, and then let's be honest, that's what we're after. You know, more tears. Got to fill up these bayous around here.
Speaking of tears, how's that coffee going for Grandpa?
It's going pretty good. Oh, Grandpa Sally, he's somewhere around here.
Is he
Yeah, he's here somewhere. Oh. Hey, Grandpa.
Hey, what's going on, guys? You're doing Grandpa Sally's here. Yeah, we've been out there making so many tears. I've just been like piling up on coffee, and it's been delicious. But I'm ready to start selling it because I just got too much, you know. But anyway, good talking with you guys.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Anytime.
Always a pleasure to hear from Grandpa.
Okay, so let me show you this one other observation I think is pretty interesting that I made on my scout run. Oh, actually, there's two more that I'd like to show you guys. It's down 25th. Yeah. Okay. So this is actually me taking pictures from the top, like way back away from the boat ramp, by the way. So there's a whole bunch of pictures. I'll let y'all see them later. I'm not going to spend all the time on those here. Okay, so I went back to the causeway. I'm trying to find. Okay, I think it's this one. So I went back to the causeway and just did some more observations. A whole bunch of observations, actually, but this one in particular, I was specifically trying to make out what I had seen in a previous video where there's like a shadow down here. And I guess what kind of motivated me to do this was the Andrew John video where he was mistaking this arm basically that comes off of the marine span for part of the bridge. And so I was like, right. even though that was you know, he was obviously making that mistake, I still wanted to go back and see what I could, like, see what I could see in the middle right here. Like, I wanted to see what this was because I'd seen a shadow here before. And so I zoomed in on it and I tried to pay attention to what was going on, and I realized that this right here is the second crossover. So this is the second crossover, and it's down by the horizon. And this is the sign that's on top of the second crossover. And there's a pole right here that you can see. And if you go on Google Earth and you go on Street View and you go to the second crossover, you can see all those features. And so this is definitely one of my places that I'm going to be going back to when the weather is calmer, when the thermal, you know, heat to come off the water is a lot better, which I think is going to happen during late fall. So I'll be back here because what I'd really like to do is get a shot of this sign being lit up during rush hour traffic, because they put words on this sign right here. And maybe I can talk to the Causeway Police and put some words that I want on that sign. Because Grandpa would love that one for sure. But yeah, so this. Go ahead.
Only be very careful on your screen shares. Tim Osmond's in the chat, and he will gladly hop in and snipe if he can grab the link.
Tim will?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so anyway, pretty cool.
I've never tried using Registax image stacking for something like this, but I wonder how it would go for trying to bring out the detail.
Yeah, I wonder that too. Dandy's brought that up a few times. And
I've used image stacking for stuff like this. I use the burst mode on the P900, and it gives you like 7 images. I did that twice, giving 14, and then stacked them. It actually helps quite a lot with visibility.
Right, that's good to know.
Well, you stacked the 7 images from the burst mode. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I actually took 2 sets, so I got 14.
And you use that in Registax?
I did it in Photoshop. There's a technique in Photoshop. I can't remember how it works exactly, but I have the thread on Metabunk on the Wallace experiment. You know, where to repeat the Wallace experiment. I did a bunch of tests with a P900, trying to see how clear of an image you can get over distance. And yeah, time of day and the weather like has a huge effect. But you can improve it marginally, like maybe like 30% better or so, by doing some stacking of the images.
Yeah. So from my experience so far, and this is just me, learning from experience, and that's it. I've tried to figure out when the best times would be to go, and it seems to be that the morning is the best time. But the problem with Louisiana in the morning is that the dew point is already there's a lot of dew in the air. There's a lot of humidity in the air during the summer, especially. So I think that during the fall, a morning shot during the fall, whenever there is a low humidity, is going to be really good for us. There will also be low thermal heat thermals going on. This is rush hour, so we're talking about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The thermals are terrible. The turbulence from the heat of the day is terrible, especially around these concrete structures. It's just crazy. Like there's actually a shot that I have at the Atchafalaya Basin where I got really close to the side of one of the bridges, and that center crossover that I'll show you guys is completely warped, like out of shape. It's amazing. So just trying to avoid that heat. I think the best time is in the morning because all the heat's dissipated overnight.
Yeah, that's what I found. Morning is definitely better. There were like odd times during the day when things seem to stabilize. So, ideally, you would just stay there all day and take a whole bunch of photos all day.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened here. We actually came. This is the first time we went to the Atchafalaya Basin, and it was very hazy in the morning. And I just stuck around until about, I think this was around 10ish or something like that. I'd have to look at the metadata to find out. But it was later in the morning, much later in the morning, that all of a sudden the haze just cleared up, just out of nowhere, just like burn off. And everything got a lot clearer. Of course, then I was fighting the heat. You can see, like, even in this picture, it's like very... oh, Jesse wants to join the Hangout.
Is he on Facebook? Can somebody invite him, or?
Shawn, I sent you his email address in the Hangout.
I'm trying to get to it.
I also took a whole bunch of shots for Geo Straber. I'm not sure how you pronounce his screen name. On this last run that I did. Where is that? Yeah, I went. Oh, this is also another one of those shots, but this is of the causeway. So this is another one where you can see I'm looking down from underneath the causeway, and you can see the curve here.
You should get a notification to join. It'll probably be in his email.
Let's see. Is this one? I don't think I zoomed. Yeah, here I zoomed out. So this is under the causeway right here. This is actually under the northbound lane of the causeway. So that's just another example. I should have done it in the southbound lane though, because the northbound lane kind of kicks to the left a little further out there. They start off closer together on the shore, but about, I don't know how far out, a little ways out there that kicks to the left, and then they're even the rest of the way. But yeah, so Geo has done a couple debates, if you want to call them that. So you can see the kick to the left right here. See,
geodetic surveyor, Jesse. I added you to the Hangout. It might go to your email because I don't have you actually on my Hangouts list.
So this is another shot right here. You can see the sign. That's the sign for the second crossover right there. I'm closer to the water now. So I'm actually probably fighting some mirage right here. That's probably what this is down here. Yeah, you can see it right here in the bridge. But that's definitely the second sign, really a lot further closer to the horizon. I think during the winter you're going to see like basically the whole bridge is going to be the whole crossover will be like in the water, and you'll see just the sign on top of it. If we can get a really crisp, clear image right there where you can tell there's no mirage and there's no, a sharp horizon right there, that will be like the crushing moment. Another crushing moment. I mean, I think we've won a couple seasons so far. But yeah, just more of the same shots, same locations. And I ended up going back out to the transmission lines, of course.
Oh, crap. Yep. Crap.
What?
Oh, that's not Geodetic Surveyor in the chat. Unless he's using a different account than his normal one.
What was the deal about the bird's nest too? I didn't catch up on that soundly.
So there's this video where I basically drive past the towers. Not from the third. It's from like I don't know. I'm not sure if they even have it. I might have moved it over to my hard drive. Oh, there's my house. Tore up. Yeah, I don't think I have it on here. I'll go to YouTube.
Check the chat, Shawn. Public.
I'm looking at it, but I'm trying to correct a mistake I might have done. Oh. I'm going to actually email him the link at this point.
It's 2 of 3. Okay, so.
Hey guys, I'm Carly Kloss.
Oh. Am I still sharing right now?
Yep.
Crap. So
this video right here, which has been stabilized by YouTube and has been color corrected by YouTube, they want to pick on it. They don't like that, even though I linked like literally the fourth line in the description is the raw video that they can look at if they choose to, but they don't ever look at that one. This bird right here, apparently they think that it doesn't have enough parallax, and that's what turned into like some big fiasco about, oh, that bird doesn't have enough parallax, it's obviously CGI, of course, but that's what the bird thing was. They were claiming that bird was fake, and there's been like 3 or 4 debunks on it now before I even did one. That's what the bird. My debunk is 38 seconds long, so I'm not sure if you saw that one, Dazza.
Well, Geodetic Surveyor has just joined the Hangout.
Do you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
That's a little off my mind.
Hey, Jesse. Thanks for joining.
Can you hear? Hey, do you guys hear me?
Yes. Yep. We hear you. Do you hear us?
I'm trying to use my headset.
Turn the volume up on them. That or your Hangouts aren't using the right settings for your audio device.
In the meantime, Dazza, this is the debunk video I did on the whole parallax thing.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you can look at if you actually look at the bird and take a couple clear frames, you can tell that there is parallax. and
Just not a whole lot.
It's not a lot, and it shouldn't be a lot because we're talking about like less than a degree of rotation. So that was the whole thing. They just come up with whatever they can come up with just to try and shoot it down because they can't figure out how to deal with hundreds of photographs and videos, that all show the same thing.
Good evening.
Can you hear us
Justin.
now? Are you not able to hear us yet? I'm going to check that as I know. Let's see if he can. Well, I can't tell him to look at the chat because I was going to type him how to fix that. If you can send him a message soundly, because you actually have contact with him, to let him know to check the settings on the Hangouts to make sure it's actually using his headphones as a device.
Okay.
There's a really long delay.
Oh. Are you watching the Hangout or hearing the audio from the Hangout live stream or from the Hangout window?
That would explain the delay.
I think he's actually hearing the audio from the live stream, but his Hangout window doesn't have the microphone set or the headphone set up as his audio device.
Okay. Yep.
So he'll probably hear this in about 7 to 20 seconds and hopefully fix it at that point.
See if I can find it.
Yeah, so with different images, for example, any images taken from satellites, of course, they have to dismiss them as being fake CGI because if they accept that they're real, that's the end of their flat Earth fantasy, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
And it's the same with Soundly's videos of the power pylon towers and the bridge curving over Lake Pontchartrain. They have to claim that they're CGI fake. The results of electrical soup because of electrolysis or some other crazy explanation.
Yeah, he's definitely listening to the live stream.
Yeah.
So, Jesse, you need to check your settings in the Hangout. There's a settings control to check your, it's the gear wheel. Click on the gear wheel settings control and check your settings for your devices.
It'll be camera, microphone, and then whatever your speaker setup is.
I'll be heading over to Mount Maunganui, which is across the harbour bridge from here. In about an hour and a half, the International Space Station will be crossing over in front of the sun. So I'll be heading over to the middle of the path to get the best view of that.
Nice.
The transit will take just under 1 second. So it'll take me about 20 minutes to drive over there and probably another 15 minutes to set up. And I'll roll 2 cameras and we'll get 1 second of video. And hopefully capture the International Space Station crossing over in front of the sun. I have filmed this already twice before. I'm also hoping to catch the International Space Station crossing over in front of the moon sometime, but each opportunity or each time there has been a transit, I've lucked out with the weather with thick cloud.
That sucks.
How we doing, Jesse? You get it fixed yet?
He's muted at the moment.
Yeah.
So there was one other location that I went to. I was trying to find actually the location that that Andrew John guy had gone to, but I couldn't make out the causeway well enough because of the heat. I could see it, but it was like very blurry. But while I was there, I turned my camera back towards New Orleans, and I was able to make out a air traffic control tower. And
I have to correct something in chat that's going to get a lot of people talking. Poseidon 63, Jaren didn't admit defeat, and he did not accept the globe. All he did was admit that the eclipse is going to happen the way the globe Earth model predicts. So I have to nip that in the bud before it starts rumors. So sorry, Silent, go ahead.
Oh, I'll just share my screen again. Let me get back to the Hangout, which is forever not easy to find for some reason. Okay. Yeah, so I was able to look back. Are you presenting me?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. So I was able to look back and see this air traffic control tower, which is, I don't think this is the international. This isn't the New Orleans International Airport. It's some other airport off to the side. And looking back, basically the difference between this picture and this picture, which they're both videos, so I could actually play it and show you, is there's a little, on my tripod, there's a little neck crank, right, that cranks the neck up higher, which most people have probably on their tripod. No. And all I did was just crank the neck up higher, and I could see this green grass, or whatever this is right here. And then I cranked the neck down lower, and I'd see this. And it was just that small amount of what's like a foot, maybe a foot and a half difference, where I could see this versus this. And like here, this is the mirage, right, popping up, versus going up a foot and the mirage goes away. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this is obstructed right here. This land on the other side is obstructed, and there's a whole bunch of hotels and stuff that are all obstructed. So it's definitely a good spot to go back to, because you can look back towards New Orleans and see a lot of cool stuff obstructed by the horizon of Lake Pontchartrain. So we'll be headed back there at some point.
I've been planning to get back down to Macca too. I mentioned this in a recent Hangout, and we've finally had some nice clear weather the last 2 days, following a lot of rain that we had. But problem was this morning it was like 1 degree Celsius, which I think is about 34 degrees Fahrenheit. I really didn't fancy going out there in that cold.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Did Jesse get his stuff figured out?
He said he's working on it in the public chat.
I've also ordered a telescope, which is going to be in on Tuesday, and I'll have a go-to mount on it, so I'll be able to start hooking my P900 up to that. I'm not sure how well it'll transport, but I'll try and get it to wherever I need to get it to.
You know, I suppose you get the same response soundly with videos like the one that you're showing at the moment, is that they all scream that the waves and swell were too high and they're blocking out the background, even though your camera is actually several feet above the sea level.
Yes.
It's almost like, you know, there's tsunami conditions in the middle of the lake or the body of water that you're filming across, and somehow the water is actually higher than the level of your camera. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I checked the waves. I actually checked the wave height. It was 2 to 3 feet, and my tripod was, you know, at least 4 feet, 5 feet. So I'm definitely over the top of the highest wave at the time, and haven't seen clear obstruction here. You know, but this is another reason why I like the Atchafalaya Basin, because you can't argue about waves in the Atchafalaya Basin Bridge, because there aren't any. You know, the only waves that are there are from boats. So, you know, it's like glass, the water there. So that argument just goes out the window.
Yeah. Now I see Jesse has joined us again. Have you got your settings sorted out there, Jesse?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we hear you fine.
Okay. Well, I finally figured it out then. I had the live. Shawn was correct. I had the live stream going in the background, and my Logitech headphones weren't. They were being blocked. Oh my God. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm kind of the king of the Hangouts.
This is my first one. Thanks for having me on with you guys.
Awesome. I've been wanting to get you in a hangout for ever since you did your Chicago observations.
Oh, I haven't done that yet. I want to go to Chicago, but that hasn't happened yet. You might be talking about Red Pill World. He did that.
No, there's a video out that has your name on it. Taking Lake Michigan or taking Lake Michigan, Michigan City, showing looming in a very, very apparent way that changes as the day goes on. It's a time lapse, and it's actually got your name at the bottom of it. I thought you did it.
Nope, not me. Haven't been there yet. No, I do want to go to where Red Pill World went, and I want to try to reobserve what he, the same test he did.
Yeah, I've been following Red Pill for a long, long time. Probably a year and a half now.
But October, I'm trying to plan with Soundly to go down to the lake there. I think after he's finished with the eclipse, we talked last night. We're going to probably start doing some planning in Google Earth and working on where we can set up and make some observations with my T2, and I'll bring carrier phase GPS with me. And if we have a boat, we're going to run some profiles across the lake, back and forth. Everybody wants to see the curve of the water, so we're going to show them that the water is curved.
Indeed.
So that'll be fun.
Okay,
Yeah,
how does that work, Jesse? Like, what do you mean by running profiles? Because I don't know the survey speak.
Okay, well, any hydrographic surveying company or people that do hydro, we call it hydro. Hydrographic surveying, used to be. I'll tell you what it was like before GPS. You basically had a vessel, and you steered your vessel along a grid of lines across the water. Let's take Lake Pontchartrain, for example. They ran lines across that, but they had someone observing a tide station, literally just watching that tide station and recording the time and watching the water rise or fall on a tide board, just a rod in the water, demarcated, probably in feet. And they would correlate those times with where the boat was at the time it was doing its depth. It had a depth finder on the boat. So that's how it used to be done. And then, but now, any hydro vessel is going to have, really sophisticated multi-beam echo sounders and GPS, and actually GNSS. So in real time, the boat is being kept track of as it's bobbing along through the water, and the depths are going to be applied directly to the height of the vessel at that moment. And of course, tide stations are all tied in electronically now. There's nobody standing there watching it. They're all tied in with telemetry, either by satellite phone or literally hooked up to a hard wire or possibly a cellular connection. So the real time, you can go to the NOAA website and look at, and in fact, there's tide stations all around the world. You can go and look at tide data. I post links to that all the time when they post their links to, or what they post their memes about, that the water's flat. I just show them. Yeah, go ahead.
Just to correct myself, the guy I'm thinking of, his name is Jesse Kozlowski, and I just linked him in the side chat.
Oh, so without the W, so he's Kozlowski.
Lowski.
Well, that's my name.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I thought you were this guy.
You say you linked it in the side there?
Yep.
Oh, is this okay? There's the video.
Well, that's his channel.
Well, that's me. No, I did not. If you're saying there's a video out, talking about Chicago across the Lake Michigan? No, I didn't.
It's got your name. It's got your name put at the bottom of it. That's why I was curious why that video is not on your channel anymore.
Do you have a link to that video?
You can probably find
because
it.
Because I made a video called Flat Earth Proof, Show Us the Measurements. And I go through whoever made that video called Landho 3 or something like that. Flat Earth Proof 3 Landho. I go through that video, piece by piece or place by place that they're showing in there. And one of them is Chicago. And I include Red Pill World's work at that point. So could that be the one you're thinking of?
Bering County, Michigan.
I'll just jump in here too, and Soundly needs to get away soon. He's just not chat. Needs to leave the Hangout shortly.
Oh,
yeah, I shared the
double my bad. It's Joshua Nowicki.
Okay, well now he's this guy who's supposedly a famous photographer, and yeah,
it's a mirage. That's one.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. The one Jaron uses for every intro of his videos.
Exactly.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go, guys. Thanks, Dazza, for having me, and thanks, guys, for joining. So,
you're welcome.
I left the Google Photos link in the side chat there.
Hey,
Great, thank you. Got that.
Okay, he's gone.
No, go ahead, Jesse.
I just want to say hello. We crisscrossed here at the end. I finally got on here. I just wanted to say hi.
Yeah. Hey, Jesse. How's it going?
Good.
Looking forward to October, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. You guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Soundly. Take care.
And just to point out, yes, I have been subscribed to you for a while.
Who, to me or to Soundly?
Yes, to you. To you.
Okay. Well, thanks.
I can't give a date for how long I've been subscribed, but I have been subscribed for a while. I'm sure you'll dig through your subscription list and see me buried in there somewhere.
Okay. I haven't been too active on my channel except for the fact that I reposted the one done by, well, I can't even pronounce his YouTube channel, but he's in my Facebook group. Have you seen that?
John McIntyre?
No. Hang on. Let me go look it up. But I have this group going, and Daz is in there, and Mick is in there. Glad to have you guys in there. After they put up those billboards about Research Flat Earth, I changed my group name to Flat Earth Research Project, and I figured, come on in and post your research.
Yeah, I've actually referenced many of your videos to flat earthers, and of course they usually shut up in the comment section after that.
I think that as soon as I came on with this, I just noticed, and maybe, I only started following this, I don't think it's even 2 years ago. If you've been following it before that, you could tell me, were there all these memes about geodetic surveying proves flat Earth? Because it seems to me that's the kind of memes I started seeing after I posted a couple of videos.
Well, it's the standard
I'm
misconception that surveying and geodetic surveying are the same thing. And since regular surveyors treat short distances as a flat plane, they say, well, geodetic surveyors say everything's flat too. That's where that whole thing came from.
Right. Sorry about that. Yeah, have you guys seen this video called Super Ultimate Flat Earth Debunkification Part 1?
I have not.
And let me see if I can pronounce his name. I can't. Here. Holy crap, I can't pronounce that.
The guy with an alphabet for a name can't pronounce somebody else's name. So yeah. Mine only has
3 syllables. So
well, if you were in the Army when I would call you Private Alphabet.
My dad, they called him Kaz. Here's the one I'm talking about. Here, I'll just put it in the side chat there.
Oh my goodness,
Anybody?
that is a name.
Anybody? Go ahead.
Remixomitosis.
Yeah. I know him as Noah in the Flat Earth Research Group. So I liked his video and I just shared that. So that's the last thing I've done on my channel. I need to maybe do a channel update, and then I've got a.
Yeah, I have watched that. I've actually watched it almost to the end.
Okay.
Remixomitosis.
I'm at 2 hours 14 minutes 35 seconds. I couldn't watch it all in one sitting because I was watching it like at breaks and lunches at work.
How's that?
Yeah,
Remixomitosis.
Say it again.
Remixomitosis.
Remixomitosis. There you go. I like it.
Sounds like something pretty nasty, doesn't it?
So what were you guys chatting about before I came on? Before I finally figured out how to talk to you?
Mainly about Soundly and this channel that he's found that is like 7 miles long, so it's actually better than the Bedford level experiment, and how it actually demonstrates curvature because there's a bridge on either side that's all the same elevation.
Excellent. Yeah, he was telling me that last night, and it's in a basin. He said so it may be sheltered from the wind, which would be perfect. The tests that I've done on lakes, I haven't really bothered with having a third point, and I keep getting criticized for that, but it doesn't matter to me. I know that I've used the lake as a level. I set points on either side of the lake that should be level with each other. And then, I'm just coming at this from a different angle, so to speak, and that is, if the earth is flat and the water is flat, then if I measure vertical angles on either side of the line, those angles should add up to 180 degrees because the plumb lines should be parallel. Isn't that true?
Right.
That's just a simple assumption. And I keep finding out that they're not, and I've always known that they're not, but I thought, I figured, hey, why not try that in a mile? That was the first test I did, was just went out on Route 206 in New Jersey there and went between 2 mile posts.
I liked that video, by the way.
Thanks. And I just try to take a very simple approach that, you can do that at any length. And I dug up some old reports where I took the raw data that these guys observed, long ago doing triangulation, and found out the same thing. And they were measuring very long lines, 50 miles, 60, almost 60 miles. And that's what we see. Then I thought, and then, you get the perspective argument, you get the atmospheric lensing argument, you get all these arguments. So then I started asking, well, what happens if we go in like 500 feet? 500 feet, that's pretty clear. I should be able to see clearly from each end of the line. And with a high precision instrument, I can measure the tilt there. So there's this spot near to me where, these geocachers love to go and find these locations where a whole number of degrees of latitude and longitude intersect. I think there's a special name for that. I don't know what it is. Maybe one of you do, but
I do not.
There's a spot near to me where north 40 degrees, intersects west 75, 00000. And it happens to be in a golf course. And I've been there before. I went there and there was nothing there, but I went there a few months ago, and someone put a plaque there. It was like a granite stone, and it's marked 40 75 and there it is. So I'm very curious how well that was set. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to survey that to see how close it really is to that. And then I thought, well, if I lay out and set a point 5 arc seconds to the north, and then go another 5 arc seconds to the north. So basically I'll be on the meridian 75 west, and I'll set 40:00:05, 5 seconds northward. Go another 5 seconds at 10 seconds north. And then I'm going to go at right angles to that, to the right, and do the same thing, 5 seconds to the east and another 5 seconds. So I'll have a total of 10 seconds from that plaque.
Does the word confluence sound familiar?
Convergence?
Confluence.
Confluence. I've heard the word.
I'm actually looking through any kind of definitions for Latin longs crossing, and the only word coming up is confluence.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. That might be it. I don't know. But you see where I'm going with this. I'm going to just go on the meridian, and I'll measure the tilt in 5 seconds. I'll measure the tilt in 10 seconds. So I have two segments I can measure northward. And I have two segments. One's 500 feet, then there's another 500 feet, and then there's a total of about 1,000 feet. And I'm just rounding these off. Of course, the lengths may not be exactly 500 and 500, but they will be 5 seconds, 5 arc seconds. And this, to me, is a very simple way of looking at what latitude and longitude is. I don't think flat earthers even think about what that even means. And so with this whole number here and going 5 seconds and another 5 seconds, I'm going to try to do some graphical display of what's actually happening and where that arc is being measured. And it's no wonder why you can't see it. Why? Because you can't see it. You can't see that, but it's there. Anyway, what do you guys think of that test?
That'd be really interesting. It's just mind blowing how accurate a theodolite can get.
Yeah,
and I understand and appreciate the degree of accuracy that they have, but it just irks me that they're so discounted by people who think the Earth is flat because it proves them wrong.
Well, exactly, and they come out with the various arguments of perspective, atmospheric lensing, refraction. They don't really understand the fact that refraction is helping their cause because it diminishes the effect of the curve slightly. When you talk about
just to quote Mick West, an average of 7/6.
Yeah. And if you look at that 8 inches per mile squared, 8 inches is 0.67 feet.
Oh, I have to do a caveat.
Yeah.
Mick did not invent the 7/6. That's been around for a couple hundred years.
Yeah, that's just an Anthony Riley thing, I think, like thinking that I came up with it.
Yeah, I just wanted to cover that no, I'm not giving you credit for coming up with 7/6. It's been around for centuries.
Yeah, I just found it on the internet somewhere, and since then I found like a whole bunch of really old surveying books that use very, very similar corrections between 7/6 and I think 5/6, I think.
Interesting.
No, 5/6,
that's the one thing I will thank Flat Earth for is just the sparking the curiosity and going and finding things like that. I mean, that's not something we use today, but you're right. A lot of these old books have rules of thumb that are used for different things. But that 8 inches per mile, which is the 0.67 feet, when you apply curvature and refraction to that, the formula is 0.57. So there's 1/10 of a foot, out of there, taken out of there because of refraction. So refraction isn't doing anything for them, or it isn't causing this curvature to appear. So there's a chart. I use a chart I got out of an old book from the U.S. Geological Survey, and it has a whole table, and it goes out to about 100 miles. And I don't have it memorized, but the amount of refraction, the distance involved is, some hundreds of feet, not thousands of feet. So when you're looking out there at 40 miles, and the drop of the curve from your horizontal plane is could be in the thousands of feet. refraction is only going to take off a little bit. It's not a lot, so it's not a huge consideration.
I think a big problem with refraction that they have, though, is with the photos like the skyline of Toronto, where you see that stadium. I can't remember what it's called, but you see the CN Tower, and then there's this white stadium at the bottom of it, and that stadium shouldn't be visible even with quite significant refraction, and that's because it's very, very close to the horizon, and you're actually getting a type of atmospheric ducting, which is just bending you all the way around.